Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Tamara Richards, and I'm super excited about this episode, y'all, because as you may or may not know, I had two C-sections, right? Got to a point, could not get over a 25-pound weight loss. It didn't matter what I did, I could not overcome it until I found macros. So I have a question for you. Have you ever heard about macros and you was like, girl, I don't have time to be doing all that? That was me. Or have you heard about it and you're like, I really don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do. It's okay, y'all. I got you. Today, I'm going to be breaking down all things macros, okay, into real time for my busy moms who are running errands, picking up kids, and doing this and that. I got you. I'm going to really give you a practical way of how to use macros and help you understand how it's actually going to help you completely eliminate restrictive dieting, overcome plateaus, and for you to be hashtag mom goals and to get rid of that FUPA, okay? So if you're ready, I'm ready, all right? So let's hop into it. So what are macros? Macros is an abbreviation for macronutrient. We have three big building blocks that supply our body energy. Let's take a step back. What are calories? When you hear this word calories, do you even know what that means? Calories is our energy. And that's why we have to be careful what we're putting into our mouth, because that is what's supplying the energy our body needs to think, to run behind our kids, to rest at night, to process the foods that we're eating. Our body needs energy. And so we should be giving our body the proper quality and quantity of energy so that we can thrive as the beautiful women of God that we are. So we have three different types of macro groups. We have carbs, we have fats, and then we have protein. Let's start with carbs, because that's one of the number one things that people DM me. They put under my comments. And when I'm on live, they're like, child, I cannot do carbs. I'm bad with bread. I'm bad with carbs. And the thing is this, it's not that you are bad with carbs. You have an issue with either a quality of carbs, a quantity of carbs, or both. Either you're eating more simple sugars than complex carbs, or you're eating too many complex carbs or too many simple sugars, or maybe you're not eating none at all. So let's talk about the quality of carbs, because the quality of carbs has a direct impact on not only our weight, but our health. There are two different types of carbs. We have simple sugars and we have complex sugars or complex carbs. Let's start with the simple sugars, okay? Simple sugars are our potato chips, our grits, you know, the stuff that we love, our white rice, our white bread, ice cream, candy, sodas, and the list goes on. Sweet tea, all that stuff. Those are our simple sugars. And we term it as a simple sugar because when our body digests it, it digests it immediately and it goes right into our bloodstream for our body to use. When we talk about complex carbs are termed complex because the chemical structure of the carb is a little bit more complex. Our body has to work a little bit to break it down. So it takes a little bit more time to break it down. But what this looks like is it causes our body to slowly release that sugar over a set period of time. With simple sugars, we eat it, it goes in our bloodstream, and it shoots back down. The problem with this, when we eat too many simple sugars, our pancreas, which secretes our insulin, simply gets tired, girl. It gets tired. So if you have a diet that is high in fat and that is high in simple sugars, or you're overeating complex sugars, all of those excess sugars that are not used by insulin, that are not stored in your liver as glycogen, is stored as fat. And so that then increases your body fat percentage and leads to chronic diseases on top of the glucose possibly causing diabetes or insulin resistance. So this is why the quality of carbs that you're eating is very essential. It's beyond your weight. You have to make sure that your temple is taken care of. So that is sugars. Those are our carbs. Let's dive into fat. We have two different types of fats. We have unsaturated fat and we have saturated fat. We should be running from trans fat. Every time you see trans fat, I want you to just put the product down. I want you to walk away from that part on the menu, okay? Trans fat has a direct correlation to heart disease, stroke, heart attack, the whole nine. So when you see trans fat, it should be a no for you. There is tons of other options that we can eat in this world than to be eating foods with trans fat, okay? Now, we have saturated fats and unsaturated fats. What do saturated fats look like? Those are our butters, our margarine, and the good stuff in the fast food that makes it taste so good. Your diet, when it comes to your fat, should not have more than 7% of saturated fat. 0% trans fat, 7% saturated fat. Now, we want to make sure that we're replacing our saturated fats because saturated fats actually as well have been linked to cardiovascular disease. And we already know that the more fat that we eat, the more body fat percentage that we have. We got more stuff adding on top of our mommy pouch and our fupa, and the cascade just goes on. So we want to make sure that we're keeping our fat within a certain range. And again, I'm going to talk about the actual quantity of fat in the range that that should be in, but I want to at least break down the different macro groups, okay? When we talk about unsaturated fat, those are our good fats, okay? Those are the fats that our body needs for vitamins in our body and for functions of our body to help produce different things that make our skin look beautiful. Those are the fats that we need. And so we have polysaturated fats and we have monosaturated fat. Those are our olive oils, our nuts, our avocado. We need to reduce our saturated fats, completely eliminate trans fats, and really push most of our fat percentages to our unsaturated fats, which can be polysaturated or monosaturated fats. All right, so let's get into protein. Protein is king, okay? You're gonna hear me say that multiple times on this channel. Protein is king. The number one reason why I say protein is king is because 20% of the protein that we eat is going to use itself to break it down, meaning that 80% of what's remaining is what your body has to use, okay? So if you eat 100 calories of protein, your body is going to use 20 of those calories to actually digest it and break it down. So your body only has 80 calories remaining to use from protein. So it is a win-win. Protein also increases your metabolism. Studies have shown that it can increase your metabolism so much that you can burn 80 to 120 more calories a day just by eating protein. It actually increases satiety, which means it helps you feel fuller longer, and it helps you not feel as hungry between meals, especially when you're getting your protein in for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're sprinkling some in for your snacks. So it keeps you full, it keeps you from feeling like hangry. Proteins are very essential for the proteins in our body. Our hemoglobin, which many of women, particularly women of color, suffer from anemia. And our hemoglobin is made from protein, okay? So protein is king. You have to get your protein in. So what I want you to take away from this is this. There are no macro groups that should be eliminated, okay? I know we have keto and all these other diets that eliminate these macro groups. Every single macro group is essential for your body so your body functions appropriately. When you start to remove macro groups, your body finds another way, which with keto, that's why you burn fat, but that's not sustainable. When you start eliminating macro groups, it is the body's natural process to compensate elsewhere, which then moves your body out of alignment of how it should naturally be functioning. So the name of the game is to bring balance between your macro groups. Live your life. There is no reason why you should be cutting all this fat, all these carbs out when people are losing weight and thriving and living their best life, still going to brunch and living their best life. So I want you to try not to eliminate any macro groups. And I'm going to try to teach you how to do that. All right. All right. So let's move into why you should be tracking macros and not counting calories, because a lot of people track calories and they think that's the go-to for all to help them lose weight. And I'm sorry, I'm about to cripple it right now and really show you why you cannot rely on calories, okay? Because calories is just a snippet of what is going on, and I need us to be the FBI when it comes to food, because we gotta have a discerning spirit about what we put into our temple and into our bodies, okay? So let's go ahead and let's get into it. There is something called the daily acceptable range. The FDA has these ranges for our carbs, our fat, and our protein of what we should be eating in the percentage that we should be eating for our total calories within a day that will help us maintain our weight. So when it comes to carbs, you should be eating 45 to 65% of your calories should be coming from carbs. 20 to 30% of your calories should be coming from fat, and 10 to 35% should be coming from protein. Now remember, this is a range, okay, that can be manipulated to help you reach certain goals, to maintain your weight, lose weight, whatever it may be. But based off of the FDA recommendations, we should be distributing our calories for carbs, fat, and protein within these ranges. So you got to look at the macro groups and the grams in these foods. And yes, of course, at first it can be overwhelming. That's why you use my Fitness Pal. Use MyFitnessPal. It's an excellent tool. You look at it, you track things, and at the end of the day, you just take a look and a glimpse and say, "Oh Lord, this was way too much fat. Oh my God, this was way too much salt. Let me next time I'm gonna eat half of that, or I'm not gonna eat this at all." Essentially, calories are just a sum of macros, all piled up together. So you got to take a deeper look at the macros and find out how many grams make up that total amount of calories for each meal. I want to give you an example, right? A lot of people, even my clients, even myself, and this was one of the things that was a aha moment for me when I first started tracking my macros. I would just say, "Oh, Chipotle is the best." Okay, like it's clean, it has rice, it has vegetables, it's this and that. Now, I love Chipotle. I've been eating Chipotle for a very long time, but Chipotle can be as deceiving as the McDonald's and the Wendy's and Chick-fil-A, everybody. Because they have these little bowls. If you go on their website, they have these bowls on there and they call them lifestyle bowls. Okay. The problem is when you get your Inspector Gadget and you start looking a little bit more, you begin to see that most of Chipotle bowls are 50 to 60% fat. And they have at least 100, sometimes 1,800 milligrams of salt in it. All of us who've eaten Chipotle know sometimes all we need is one bowl and we are full for the rest of the day. You wanna know why? Because it is so much salt in that food. Your body's natural physical process. Wherever salt goes, water goes. So that's why you feel so full. And that's why we end up feeling so bloated after meals when we eat it out, because a lot of these meals have so much salt in it. Now, salt is a micronutrient, and I'm going to do a whole episode on salt, okay? Because salt is life changing. That's one of the number one things I have my clients track is their salt, because salt is directly proportional to your blood pressure. It is directly in proportional to how your heart is stretching and the pressure that your heart is stretching over, which can lead to heart attacks, heart failure, and a cascade of events. So I want to use Chipotle as an example. Okay. So they have these lifestyle bowls and it ranges from 500 calories. Some of them goes up to 800 calories. Let's use the 500 calorie one. They have one on there, which is the whole 31. So let's go ahead and let's use that one. Now the whole 31 actually has 500 calories. So you look at that, you're like, "Oh, I got 1,500 calories. I'm good. I got 1,000 calories left over." 20 grams of that comes from carbs, 34 grams of that comes from fat, and 27 grams come from protein. It has 1,535 milligrams of salt, and you should be eating 2,400 milligrams of salt. And some doctors may recommend 2,000 milligrams of salt a day. All right. But when you break that down, that 34 grams of fat in that one bowl, that's this whole 30 bowl, it's about 60% of the fat that you should be consuming in a day. Now, that's not including your snacks. That's not including your breakfast, especially if you're eating bacon and sausage for breakfast or picking up these sandwiches. I guarantee you, most breakfast sandwiches from these places have about 15 to 20 grams of fat. Good places may have 10 grams, but we'll just say anywhere from 10 to 20 grams. So we had 34 grams. Let's say you need 60 grams a day. You had that breakfast sandwich this morning, which was about 15 grams of fat. Now you got this Chipotle, which is about 35 grams of fat. We're at 50 grams. We haven't had no snacks. We haven't had no drinks. We haven't had no dinner. And so as you can see, yes, these foods are labeled as the whole 30 meal and it's only 500 calories. But when things start to add up around that one meal is how we get in trouble. And that's how we don't lose any more weight. That's how we become frustrated. And we're like, "I'm eating all this clean food. I'm not at McDonald's. I'm doing all I can." And sis, it's not that. It's the actual quantity and quality of foods that you're eating that you got to dive a little bit deeper in to find out where you're going wrong, how to fix it. What are the foods that are too concentrated in fat, too concentrated in carbs, have way too much salt? So what I want you to do is I want you to try, number one, to look at those macro ranges and try from day to day to stay within those ranges. You can use MyFitnessPal to track your food and just make sure that you stay in the range. Now, here's a disclaimer, and this is another episode for another day. MyFitnessPal is going to underestimate your calories. They don't take into account our curves and our lifestyle. I'm just going to leave it like that. So you have to be careful with MyFitnessPal. Your best solution is to get customized macros and then plug those into MyFitnessPal, because MyFitnessPal is gonna have you on a calorie diet as if you eating broccoli, chicken, and rice and a shake every single day. But at the baseline, what you can do is just start tracking your foods and go all the way down at the end of MyFitnessPal at the end of the day and look at your percentages of fat, carbs, and protein. Go back to these FDA recommendations, and if your stuff is over that, those are the areas that you got to work on. Are you struggling with your weight despite you doing everything? I'm working out. I done cut all this stuff out, Dr. Tamara. I'm doing everything I can, and I just cannot get over this certain weight. Nothing that I'm doing is working, and I'm tired. I'm frustrated. Is that you? I want you to put it in the comments. Let me know what your frustrations are. What have you tried? What hasn't worked for you? What has worked for you and is not no longer working? I want to hear the frustrations. I want to know where you are, where my audience is, so I can bring that content to you and really, really push you forward. Okay. So my last point is, how do we use the macros to actually lose weight? So here's the thing. Macros is that step further. 9 times out of 10, it's 1 or 2 things that's in your diet that's keeping you from progressing to your goals. Tracking your macros is what's going to help you figure that out. So here is the aha moment that happened for me when I started tracking macros, and I want to share this with you. Tracking my macros gave me the freedom, and it put me in control of my eating. It helped me learn how to make informed decisions based off what I wanted to do, not what someone recommended for me, not following a plan, but based off of what I was feeling like eating that day. Tracking my macros put me in control of my food, put me in charge of what I was eating, how much I was eating, and because I was tracking it, it helped me learn about foods. What was working for me? After eating a food, did I feel bloated? Did I have nausea? Was I sick, having headaches? Tracking your food is life-changing. And I have to be completely 100 with you. It took me years to start tracking because I'm like, girl, I don't have time for this. I got to do this, I got this and that. But one day I said, you know what? Nothing beats a failure but a trier. And I tried it out and it changed my life. It actually helped me overcome my weight plateau. I kept getting stuck at this 25 pounds. I couldn't overcome it. The macros helped me find out where I was going wrong. And then the weight just started coming off. It was me learning how to eat my food, learning what food worked for me and my body, how my body reacted to it, and me learning from that. And it all starts with tracking your food. And so I recommend tracking just for 2 to 3 weeks, just so you can see where you are. And then if you need help with that, I'm here for you. Or you just continue to learn. You learn from your mistakes. That is how macros help you lose weight. And I'm going to break down my 3-step process and I'm going to get off my soapbox. Okay, y'all? The first thing you need to do is you got to know your macro goals. Again, you can start with MyFitnessPal, but again, you need to possibly use customized macros. When you get customized macros, your coach is going to take into account your age, your current weight, what goal weight you're trying to, reach, where are you working, because where you work is how many calories you burn during work. Are you sit down all day? Are you a teacher running behind toddlers? What is your exercise activity? What is your activity at home? We're asking those questions so we can really calculate how much energy do you need to maintain your current weight, and then based off of your goals, okay, are you trying to maintain your weight? Are you trying to lose a little weight? Are you trying to really lose weight? Based off of that, we can give you something customized for you. The second thing that you have to do in the process, once you find out what your macros are, you have to use food labels. Food labels are our warning sign. They hide in plain sight because we just look over it. Some of us, we look at it, we flip it over, but we really don't know what we're looking at. Food labels are your warning sign. It is going to tell you if something has too many grams of carbs. It's going to tell you if it has trans fat. It's going to tell you if this product don't even have enough protein. And it's talking about it's this high protein meal. It ain't even got enough protein. It don't even have 5 grams of protein in it. Learn how to read the food labels. Use them and match them to your goals when you're tracking it. So knowing your customized goals, really utilizing food labels, and not just food labels, nutritional facts at these restaurants. That's how I was able to determine the stuff with Chipotle and Chick-fil-A, and tracking it. The tracking it is the part that's going to either push you forward or you're going to fold. And the reason why I say that is that tracking can be tedious for people. You gotta scan everything, you gotta put everything in. But if you're using something like MyFitnessPal, after you put it in, it's saved. But the thing with tracking, you cannot miss the assignment. You cannot miss the value in the failure. If you found out you ate too much, the meal's already cooked, you ate too much, that don't mean you throw the whole meal away. Go ahead and eat it. But next time, now you know, maybe I don't need to add that ingredient. Or maybe let me cut my serving size in half. Or if you're out of the restaurant, you know what? Let me skip the appetizer because the appetizer put me over. The value is in the tracking. Don't miss the value in the tracking because that's where your lessons are. Those are going to be the things that are going to help you learn about the foods you eat, learn about the foods that you love, you really don't want to give up, but it's also going to be the lessons that tell you that even though you may love some things, you got to eat it in moderation. There is so much value in macros, okay? It is my goal that you actually can see that value. You are empowered to go after that value and really learn from your trials and your errors so that you can progress and meet your goals. So I have something that I created for Mother's Day 2021 in the middle of the pandemic because a lot of moms were struggling with their weight. We were enclosed, no one knew what to do. And I created this Transform Bootcamp that I've now turned into a series. It is a series of on-demand videos and resources that will help you really learn where you're going wrong, how to actually do something about it, and to create effective action. In this series, I dive deeper into nutrition, helping you really learn about the foods that you're eating, okay? Helping you really learn how to look at a food label and to know if it's a yay or a nay for you. Going into ingredients that you should be straying away from, okay, that are concerning for your health and your well-being. Different type of chronic diseases that women of color deal with, PCOS, insulin resistance, and how to navigate that when it comes to your nutrition. I then dive deeper into exercising and physical activity because that is an area of concern for most people. We're all told to look, if you want to be healthy, go and lose weight and work out. No one knows how to do that. How do you actually do that? Why is it that you should not be doing excessive amounts of cardio and adding strength training? As moms, also diving into time management, how to effectively utilize your time, and understanding the value in self-care, and that is not selfless care. And best of all, we dive straight into a spiritual checkup. Okay, really focusing on what the promises of God tells us and holding on to that through the ups and downs of weight loss, the challenges of motherhood and juggling it all, and really holding on to his promises, understanding what he says about us. Okay, and most of all, understanding that our health is that bridge between what God needs us to do and where we need to be. If our health is not where it is at, we cannot fulfill the promises that God has for us. If we're in the hospital, we're ill, we can't move, we don't have enough energy, we cannot maximize the potential of what God has for us. There are lives attached to us. Our children depend on us. We have to nurture our temple so that we can do what it is that the Father needs us to do. So I have combined all of this comprehensively into my Transform Bootcamp. And I am giving it to you at 50% off if you use YouTube at checkout. On top of that, I also will be giving you 2 workouts, one upper body, one lower body. It's going to give you a nice good sweat. You can do it in your home. All you need is a set of a heavy dumbbell and a lightweight dumbbell, some space, put the TV on, let the kids watch TV, and you get the business for 30 minutes, okay? 2 workouts, and I also include 2 recipes from my Plan Eats membership so you can actually cook some foods that are not only nutritiously good for you, but that your kids would actually enjoy. So go to my link below and use discount code YouTube at checkout and you will get 50% off, okay? So I'm excited about this episode. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Virtuous Bodies, okay? And be sure to look out for next week's video. I am diving into meal prepping and how to actually incorporate meal prepping as a busy mom, okay? Because I have been there, I have done that, and I am still doing it, and I'm sharing my wisdom with you, okay? So if you have liked this video, please let me know by subscribing to my channel, okay? Giving this video a comment below. Let me know what you're struggling with your weight loss, where you have gone wrong. And if you've even tried macros and tracking macros, let me know below. I would love to hear from you. I'll check in with you guys later. Take care.